Hello, I've had some requests about the fibre journals and tape journals that sometimes you see in my videos when I add either tape or vinyl or tape or fibres or ribbons into my journals. And these journals are generally made for tapes that I make myself and for odd pieces of fibre that don't have their own spools or rolls that they're on. All the longer pieces of fibres and things like that that have their own rolls and spools are actually in a box for fibres. But how do we make one of these? Because I don't have a tutorial on how to make one of these, but they were both made the same with exactly the same kind of a design. So I'll pull aside this one here and we'll just bring it in a little bit. Alright, so you have a basic, I've used a cereal box. So this actually measures, when I actually get a ruler and measure this, you need to find the size that is the best for you. And I did this from, I think, probably something that had a reasonable spine in it already, so it was like a cracker box or something like that. If you make these too tall or too big, they become very unwieldy. And one of the things I like about it is that the edges curve a little bit, so you can see these curve a little bit and they keep them really nice and snug. So mine is pretty square, so it's about 15 by 16, so it's just slightly not square, and the spine is 5 centimeters. So 15 by 16 centimeters, the spine is 5. And I just used some jelly prints that I had, some odd pieces of paper, and wherever they had joins I just put ribbon in. You can see I've used a different kind of ribbon there, and I really enjoyed it. I've got some paper beads here, and you can see all the strips holding in the inner parts there. So the basic design is that we have, I'll go to one that's, there it is. So you have this H design, and I have 3 per. I made sure that I had 3 per. Now, one of the things that I always say is that use a nice thick cardstock. Don't use really thick cardboard because that is really problematic. So you've got to be able to fold it really well. So we make 2 of these out of 1 sheet. We measure them up and put our divots in so that it's easy to wind things around. I always cover them in this special painter's tape. This is a yellow or green masking painter's tape, and I leave it there because then it creates a smoother surface. Nothing sticks to these edges and doesn't catch. And particularly when we get to my handmade tapes later, I can actually stick the tape on there and then it doesn't leave any sticky residue when I pull it up, and it retains its adhesive qualities. So it's really important to do that. I also use some of this tape to anchor it, but I also, if I've got really bulky stuff, I'll just use a pin like I have here. And I put that there because I like to see the edge of it come out of here like this. So it's just, it allows you to very easily flick through and see, well, what is it that I've got, the different colors and different types of cords and thong that you might have, or laces. I've even got, you know, some cording that's got little gold coins on it. I've got some bookbinding stuff that I use in my bookbinding at the top and the bottom of my books, both of those. And there's an empty page. You can see that empty page there. So just line it. It's easy. You can see that in each of the middle of the signatures, it's just been, there's no, there's a middle part, I think, yeah. So I've punched a set of middle holes here, and I've just literally gone in and out, and that's just to anchor these better. What I've then done is then laid down glue underneath all of these beads and all of these, so that, and even, no, I don't think I've done it inside, but I have in between. So where I've gone and you see cords in between, like here, there is glue anchoring that, and you can see where it's popped in and out in the middle there. And this design is exactly the same for the tape. I find that this is a really cool design for anything that you have small bits and bobs of, little bits of things or things that just seem to get lost. And then you've got this book, and I've actually got some elastic there and an old button, one of my grandmother's old buttons. And then that allows that to be expandable, and I've just, like I said, got my own paper beads there on the spine. So going to my tape one now, it's the same dimensions. This one's about, yeah, 15 by 16 and 5 again. So yeah, the same. So again, I've done the same thing, but I've done it a little bit differently. So I had an old piece of junk jewelry necklace with beads, and this was the whole necklace, and I've used it as is. I've put a couple of knots in it just to lengthen it a bit. You can see that on here I've got that hole. I put small holes and slits in for the stitches to come out, and it looks a little bit messier there, but this is like, I do it so that this hangs on properly. Again, I've just used this actually motif was a present from someone from India. They came back and gave me this as a gift, and I absolutely adore it. I actually got the impression originally when I designed these that I wanted to put one of these on it. And I just used scraps of scrapbooking paper, some of my own jelly print tape with these, and again the design is the same. And this is where we've got double-sided tape with tissue paper, so you can see that it's still got its non-stick backing on it, and I can use that in projects. That's probably my favorite thing, like to get really nice tissue paper and then to put a double-sided, just a scrapbooking tape on it, and then you've got these really pretty tapes. This is like a hospital tape, and I've jelly printed and stamped it, sprayed it. Some jelly print, and this is like using a normal sticky tape, but the same here, jelly printing just a normal surgical tape, and it's so, like, you have a look at that, so bright. Absolutely love it. Really nice. There's some more of, that's more napkins rather than, so you can use napkins as well if you like some of your napkins. But aren't these jelly plate designs just stunning? I just love them. And when you stick these, like, because I stick these to the painter's tape, they literally just pull off really well. Just make sure that your tape goes on the painter's tape. And there, that one didn't quite mix, so I've got a double-sided tape. Works very well. That gold looks really stunning, and I've got just individual parts of that tape, and I might use that in a project. But it, like I said, it also looks really cool. I think I had that left over, and I really liked how it looked within that jelly print, because it was kind of a messy jelly print. Might even doodle something in gold on that. I've got a really nice gold pen, which I think would look a bit stunning on that. So you can see how very clearly here that I've done two for this one. So I've done one, I've done two signatures and then one folio there. Again, the two signatures, and it's a little bit cleaner. These lay a lot flatter, so you can really hide those signatures very well. And I've got, how many? I've just got one on that one and two, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 different pages in that. There's nowhere near as many in this one because it's a much thicker journal. And then what I do with this is I tend to just turn it upside down, and then this little part pops in here and holds that nice and secure, and then that sits there like that, and they sit like this in my bookshelf so that I know exactly where they are and what they are, and they look like two little journals from the end. So that is exactly how I made my fibre journal and my tape journal. And I just think, be creative with recycling things. Like the you know, the cardboard in this is really the right kind of thickness in a straw board that you want to use for these. You can score them and bend them really well. They're nice and firm enough for you to have them as a book, and make sure that you have enough of them that, you know, you can really organize your stuff. Imagine being able to just take up this much space in a bookshelf that you wouldn't have been able to put your fibres or your tapes in. They'd be in boxes somewhere, and if they weren't adequately labelled like some of mine were in the olden days, then you wouldn't know what you had. This is, you literally can just pull it out, and you can even just see from here. So I know from there the sorts of tapes and things that I have. I don't even have to open them. I can look at them from above and I don't even have to open them, and I know basically the sorts of things that I've got in there and whether I should then take them off the shelves. So it's just a really nice and efficient way. And if you're like me and you don't, like, I have some really shallow shelves, and they're about that deep, that 15 centimetres deep. So that means that these fit really perfectly, and they stand up on their own really nicely because they have those nice wide spines, and they're nice and stiff. So you can use them in a very shallow set of shelves, and then they just look as decorative as any of your other journals that you may be working in. Ciao for now, everyone, and I hope you enjoyed this video.